Hey, it's Emily, and today I wanted to take a few minutes to film a really quick tag video. It's just 5 or 6 questions. I've got them here on my phone. Yeah, it's the end of year tag. This is just a fun one that's been going around. I'm a little late for when some people normally do it, but I figured it would be fun to just sit down and answer these few questions. So let's just jump right in. The first one is, are there any books that you started this year that you need to finish? I'm generally pretty good about this. Either I decide that I'm not going to finish it, or typically I'm pretty good about finishing one before going on to another book. But I do have a couple of non-fictions that have been lingering. One is The Elimination. The other is All We Can Save. So this is a book that Kim and I are reading for our Around the World Reading Challenge. I'll put links in the description down below for more information. And just my time to physically read this year has just dwindled. I've really relied on audiobooks a lot to be able to read, which is fine. I absolutely adore listening to audiobooks. But I've been physically reading both of these, and so it's just been a bit of a slower process for these. So this one is part of our Reads for Cambodia. This is a collection of essays on climate change. So those I still am working on, but I think those are the only ones that I'm not currently reading or, actively about to finish that have kind of been lingering for a bit. Second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition you to the end of the year? I did just finish it, but Spells for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, I think fits this. This is a really cool atmospheric vibe for this time of year. This follows a woman who's on a small island off of Puget Sound near Seattle, and 10 years, something like that, before the story starts, there's, someone has died, and a friend of hers died, and her boyfriend was accused of this murder, and he has come back 10 years later to bury his mother. She requested that her ashes be spread on this island, and so he's back, and it just kind of brings up all this stuff from 10 years ago. There's a bit of magic involved with this island, and it was just a fun atmosphere. I really perfect atmosphere for this time of year. I think another one that I could mark for this one is Babel by R.F. Kuang, which is a dark academia that I will be picking up soon. I really would love to vlog my experience reading that, and just have not been in a vlogging space recently. So I've been holding off a little bit, but I really do think that I will enjoy that one, and I think it'll be a great transition just with it being school time right now, and the fall. I just feel like it's always a good time for dark academia. So I think those are a couple that could answer that question. Third question is there any release that you are still waiting for? The Lost Metal, the 4th book in the second Aaron Mistborn series, is coming out the day that I'm filming this, so definitely want to listen to that one. I'm listening to the 2nd book in that series currently, and hopefully we'll be able to make my way through the 4th book in that series before starting the Stormlight Archives next year. And Michelle Obama's book also comes out today, so I'm really excited about that one. In December, Well Traveled by Jen DeLuca comes out. I think there was another one that I was excited about, but those were the two that I noted down here. Next question is 3 books you want to read before the end of the year. First, I need to finish the Mortal Instruments series. I haven't been in the mood to read that series recently, and so I've kind of been putting it off a little bit. I was supposed to read the 5th book last month and the 6th book next month, but I haven't read the 5th book yet, and it's approaching the middle of November, so I just haven't been in the mood recently for that one. But hopefully I will be able to finish that series by the end of the year and kind of catch up on that. Another one is The Ministry for the Future by Ken Stanley Robinson. I've set this as the next book in a kind of meetup environmental book club that I started. And it'll probably mostly be nonfiction. Our first book was nonfiction. It was that collection of essays that I got halfway through before our meeting. But the next book, I actually wanted to do a fiction as well, because I think fiction can be explored, or fiction can explore climate change in interesting ways. And so I wanted to make sure that we weren't losing sight of that, and the people seemed to be very receptive to that, the people in the group. So I put this book as our next selection. And so hopefully I'll be able to get through that before or into early December when we have the meetup for that one. So very excited. So that's another one I need to read. And then another one that I'll mention just because it's a very Christmassy time book, and I'll give you a little glimpse into my December TBR, and that is The Nutcracker. This is a beautiful edition I got at Barnes and Noble. It's the Alexander Dumas version, which I don't think is actually the original version, but it is the one that I found in this gorgeous edition at Barnes and Noble. So it's the one that I have. That'll be a glimpse into my Christmas time reading, but I definitely would love to read that before the end of the year. Next question, is there a book you think could shock you and become a new favorite of the year? So I think of the ones that I have planned left to read this year, I think the one with the greatest chance to become a new favorite is Babel by R.F. Kuang, just based on what I'm hearing and what I know about this book and the couple of chapters that I've read so far. I think it could be a new favorite, so I'm really excited to finish that one. And final question, have you already started making reading plans for next year? Yeah, I'm definitely a huge planner. I love to plan, I love to organize things, and I've already actually thought quite a bit about how I want to structure some things next year. I want to structure my channel differently, in part because I want to really pick back up my nonfiction reading next year, and I really want to find a way to, and just a way to incorporate that in a channel and a community that talks more predominantly about fiction. I know there are plenty of people in the community who talk about nonfiction, but I want to find a way to incorporate that into how I'm planning and structuring videos on my channel. And so I'm thinking about a way to do that. But yeah, so I have thought more about kind of how I want to structure things rather than specific reading plans, I guess. But you know, I have so many ideas that I think would be a lot of fun, and that come along with the books that I have, both on my physical TBR and in some sort of electronic form, either in audio or ebook form. I just have so many ideas for how I can kind of structure things and get to some of those books that I'm really excited about. And so I thought a little bit more about that. Some specific plans though, one of my major plans next year is to read the Stormlight Archives, the 5th book, and I think the end of kind of the first arc of that super long series is going to be coming out next year. And so I would love to finish Second Era Mistborn, as I mentioned, and then get into the Stormlight Archives so that I can finish the first 4 in time for the 5th one to be published later on in the year. That is one goal. Also Sanderson related, he's had a Kickstarter to announce some books that he wrote during lockdown that he didn't originally plan on writing. And so, you know, I had a huge Kickstarter around it. I did support the Kickstarter, so I am planning on reading those books as they are sent to me, because I did purchase the level to have the physical books sent to me. So I'm going to be getting 4 surprise Sanderson books next year, which is also going to be part of my reading plans for next year. But yeah, most of it centers how I'm going to restructure some things, which I'll make a separate video about. But yeah, those are the questions for the end of your book tag. Let me know if you have any answers to these questions. I would love to hear your responses or thoughts on any of them. And I'll be sure to link everything down below that I mentioned, as well as my Twitter and Instagram, as well as more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.